What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about sampling. So what is sampling? Literally, it's just taking a little piece of music from somebody else's record. In music production, we'll normally take that sample and then play about with it to make it our own piece of music. This can be done by reversing it, or warping it, slowing it down, speeding up, changing the pitch, slicing it, replacing the slices into different positions, and just basically doing whatever you want with it to make it sound completely different. It's a technique that was really prominent in 90s hip hop and really shaped that boom bap lo-fi sound. Personally, I only got into sampling about 2 years ago, I would say, more or less when I started making lo-fi beats. I think once you realize how difficult it really is and just all the steps that go into it and the whole process that there is to sampling, you quickly become obsessed with it because it's not a process that you can speed up. It's something that you gotta kind of dive into slowly, get your head in the right place, and it requires a lot of listening. So today I thought I'd show you what I do when I sample and my whole process from start to finish. But just before we go ahead and do that, please don't forget to drop a thumbs up if you like the video and subscribe for weekly content right on this channel. But for now, let's go ahead and sample some records. Alright, we're here at the desk now. And just before I go ahead and listen to some music, I wanna let you know what kind of stuff I usually look for when I'm looking to sample. I personally like to sample jazz records. This could be because I like jazz in general. So I guess you should kind of sample the music you listen to anyways, because that's the music that your ear is gonna be more acquainted to. I tend to prefer slow jazz just for the way it sounds. I think it suits itself better to sampling slow lo-fi. And I also like slow chords with simple melodies. I'm a big fan of simplicity in my beats. Preferably not loud drums, but not no drums either. I like kind of quiet brush strokes. So I'll go ahead and listen to some music and I'll catch up with you in a bit. Alright, so here we are at the desk. I was flicking through some music on YouTube by one of the greatest sax players of all time, Charlie Parker. And I did hear this one track from the Dial 201 album, which I thought sounded really, really dope. So I'm not gonna play it right now just in case I get some copyright issues, but I'll show you how I sample it. I use a technique that is on a Ricky Tinez video, which allows us to sample directly into Ableton. So without having to convert the YouTube video to MP3, which can be a bit of a hassle. So to do that, we have to have a feedback loop set on our audio interface software. Of course, this depends on the interface you're using. I'm using the Focusrite. So here you can see I have loopback 1-2 set on playback 1-2. If you then go into Ableton, I have my input set to 5 and 6 and my line to off. So with the feedback loop, that track is basically just going to record any sound going through the PC. So now all that's left to do is switch that track on, hit record, and play the video. You can hear how it has those elements I was talking about. So it's got the slow piano chords, it's got really like simple sax melody that will be really easy to chop up, and it's also got those slow drums that I really like to sample. So this is kind of like my typical 8-bar loop. Now I'll go ahead and put that into a simpler, which is Ableton's sampler. And in Ableton you can do that simply by dragging the audio file into the MIDI rack. Alright, so now we have our sample in the simpler, and I've just got this view here on the push to. The default setting on simpler is normally to the one-shot or classic mode. So basically one-shot mode means that you hit this once, you hit a pad once, and without holding it down, it's going to play you the whole sample. Classic mode, you have to hold down the key to play the sample. Once you let go, the sample stops. But what we're looking for is slicing. So I'm going to go ahead and switch this to slicing here. There we go. And we have some slicing modes here in Ableton. The default one is by transients, where Ableton automatically finds the highest transients and sets a slice there. What I usually prefer to use is regions. On region, Ableton will set some evenly spaced out slices. And the number of slices are the amount of regions you can choose. I normally like to use 16, but it usually just depends on how long your piece is. This is just a starting point. I take a lot of time in listening to my chops so I can make sure that I hear all the melodies and try and figure out which chops go well together. Of course, here in Simpler, we can transpose the sample if we want to pitch it up or down. So we can set the fade in and out, we can set LFO. Simpler is a really dope plugin once you dive into it. I'm not going to dive completely into it just now, but if you'd like me to go through all the settings of the Simpler plugin, leave a comment below and I'll be sure to note it down. Alright, so I think that sounds pretty cool actually. I'm just going to go ahead and quantize that. So on push 2, you can hit the quantize button right here. Pam, quantized. On Ableton, you can either right click quantize or I think it's Control U. Now, I like to do a bunch of effects processing. I'll keep this part quite short because I've gone over my effects processing quite a lot of times in previous videos. But what I'm definitely going to put on is some RC20 and some sort of filter. So let's go check that out. Alright, so first I'm going to go ahead and add Filter Freak by Soundtoys, which is currently one of my favorite plugins. Shout out to one of my boys, Ati. He gave me this one for my birthday. So go ahead and put Filter Freak 1 on this. And I'm actually not going to do much to it because Filter Freak already adds a texture to it. It's got these kind of analog sounds. If you go and hit tweak here, you can see the analog style that it sort of copies, let's say. And all of these sound super dope and you don't even have to touch any of the knobs. Let's just listen to these styles and see which one sounds the best. Alright, next thing I'm gonna add here is just some RC20, nothing too fancy. Alright, I think that's sounding pretty dope just as far as the sample goes. It's got quite a lot of low end because of that bass line that's on it. So normally that's just about it for my sampling workflow. Again, I keep it really simple. I don't do anything too crazy. But for the sake of the video, I'll go ahead and put some drums and turn this into a beat. Let's go. Alright guys, so I guess that's it. I showed you my whole approach to sampling. I showed you how I sample a jazz track and how I turn that into a little beat. And don't forget to check out my new single. The link will be down below in the description. It's called Pistachio. It's on Spotify and it's super dope, doing pretty well. Perfect addition to any lo-fi playlist. For now, thank you for watching the video guys. I hope you're having a great day and I'll catch you next week.